Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Eric Chilton. Welcome to your 4 to 5. Today I'm joined by Maddie Gardner and Chad Silver. We've got a lot to talk about, especially weather-wise.
Absolutely. Chad, you're here. It's Friday.
Can you believe it?
That's all. We're done with the show now. It's all good news today.
I just feel bad for you guys that you're going to have to deal with me for the foreseeable future. Like, I'm like the permanent fill-in. So are you ready for this?
I know that you bring milkshakes to the evening crew. Are we included in that now?
Okay, how about this? The next time it hits 60 degrees, I will buy both of you a milkshake.
Eric, make it happen.
In Greensboro. It's not like Florida, okay? It's in Greensboro. It has to happen. And it's going to happen. I might have to give him a gift card, right? Because I'm not going to drive up to Summerfield.
Ever again.
Oh, yeah. So since we are talking about Eric Chilton right now, boy, this weather. How about this weather? It's like winter around here. And it sounds like we got another round coming up maybe tomorrow night.
Yeah, we're going to have to watch this. I mean, it's kind of a two situations that we're watching. When you look at the satellite and radar combination now, we're all good. Looks pretty decent. Tomorrow, I think first half of the day looks good too, but you can see the cloud cover start to build in. I think that'll be Saturday, maybe afternoon, but definitely into the evening. And those clouds, you can see there, doesn't look all that impressive right now, but it's just that combination. If you lived here any length of time, you know how this goes. It's that timing, the battle between the cold air and when the precipitation gets here. So a lot of that cold air and that purple line you see there is our freezing line. So wherever that is, anything from that north is at or below freezing. And there's a chance that as we head into Saturday night, we might see maybe a little snow, but no major accumulation with that. It's really more of a Sunday situation, and we're not looking at so much snow as it is more of a freezing rain, kind of a sleet freezing rain mix. That would be Sunday morning. And then the question's going to be, how long will that right at or below freezing, and I think we'll honestly probably be riding that line, right? How long does that stay? That will determine how much of the frozen or freezing rain that we could get. And you know, if you've lived here, that's the worst case situation. We can handle snow, but when you get that freezing rain, nobody can drive on ice. So this is something that we'll be watching very closely. If you're looking at it from a viewing area standpoint, we'll zoom in here. Icing is likely once you get to, say, northwest parts of Guilford County through Forsyth and up into the mountain and foothills, and it's possible in, say, Greensboro south, and then probably more just rain when you get to southern Randolph County and down toward Montgomery County. We'll talk a little bit more about this. We're still going to be watching this closely, especially by Saturday afternoon, but we'll talk more coming up.
You've come to the right place to keep up to date on possible winter weather. Our weather team is the best of the best. You can see their forecasts on our website or app.
We have new information this afternoon about the coronavirus in the TRIAD. As the race to vaccinate everyone continues, more variants of the virus continue to appear. Dr. David Priest from Novant Health says the variations happen when the virus spreads to more people and mutates.
So it's believed that our current vaccines still provide significant protection against them. However, since we don't have everyone vaccinated that needs to be vaccinated yet, the arrival of a more contagious virus is concerning to us and leaves open the possibility of further peaks in cases and hospitalizations as we get into the spring.
Some mutations make the virus more contagious, some could even make it more deadly, but vaccines seem to be the answer. However, there's no denying it is difficult to get a vaccine. Novant says they have 95,000 appointments booked in the upcoming months, and if you're not one of the lucky ones, keep checking back.
That's not to say that we don't have appointments available. We open up appointments each week based on what we receive in information from the state about future allocations.
Well, this week, the state announced that each healthcare system will get a baseline number of vaccines so they can better plan how to distribute them. Novant will get almost 7,000 a week, but that's for all of their locations across the state. They say they want more and will continue to ask the state for as many doses as they can get. One of those new strains we were just talking about is now in South Carolina. The South African strain has infected 2 people so far. It's believed to be more contagious and possibly more resistant to vaccines. There is some good news, though. The nation's overall infection and hospitalization numbers are down roughly 35% from highs set earlier this month. And the CDC says 26.2 million COVID-19 vaccine doses have been administered in the U.S. so far.
I'm going to follow that up with some good news at the state level. Our hospitalization saw a big drop today, 181 fewer than yesterday. Now, it doesn't look like much on this graph, but it's a major one-day change. We haven't seen a number this low since before Christmas. And it's nearly 1,000 fewer than the record we set just 2 weeks ago. We asked a Novant doctor about the recent drop in hospitalizations. He told us fewer coronavirus cases are requiring hospitalization.
Well, there could soon be another vaccine on the way. Johnson & Johnson says that its coronavirus vaccine is 85% effective at protecting against the most severe COVID-19 symptoms and 66% effective against moderate to severe illness. Health officials have been anticipating the vaccine because it only requires one shot versus two. Meanwhile, another vaccine from Novavax was 89% effective, according to a UK study.
We've seen some mixed messaging about whether it's okay to take over-the-counter pain meds when you get the vaccine. Some experts say no, while others recommend them. We had our Verify team take a look.
We're talking about taking over-the-counter medications when you get a COVID vaccine. Why are we talking about this? Well, there's been a lot of claims about this circulating online, and a Verify viewer sent us this message. They read an article that urged them not to take aspirin, Tylenol, or Advil because they could reduce the effectiveness of vaccines. So let's verify. Is it okay to take over-the-counter pain meds when you get the COVID vaccine? Our sources are the CDC and Dr. Anita Gupta, an assistant professor at Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine who specializes in anesthesiology and pain medicine. Let's start with Dr. Gupta.
Taking over-the-counter medications, any number of these, before receiving a vaccine may in fact reduce your ability, or blunt your immune response to the vaccine.
The key there is before. Dr. Gupta explained that common over-the-counter painkillers like Tylenol or Advil can reduce an enzyme in your body that helps your immune system. So avoid taking these medications right before you get the vaccine, but what about afterwards?
After the vaccine, you can take the acetaminophen or ibuprofen.
The CDC echoed Dr. Gupta. They said if you feel uncomfortable or have pain after the vaccine, consider taking acetaminophen or ibuprofen. So bottom line here, over-the-counter pain meds should be avoided right before you get the vaccine, but they're okay to take after you've received the shot. That's verified. And keep in mind, before you start or stop any medication, it's always a good idea to consult with your doctor. With your Verify, I'm Jason Puckett.
Well, let's take a look at the headlines now in your 4 to 5 roundup. As many as 10,000 U.S. storefronts could disappear by the end of 2021 as consumers continue to favor the convenience and safety of shopping online during the pandemic. This is all according to a new report that would mark a 14% jump in retail industry closures from last year, when a record number of major vendors closed more than 8,700 stores. Businesses that sell apparel accounted for the most store closures in 2020 with more than 3,000. As Congress debates President Biden's $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill, some Democrats are pushing for an even bigger response: $2,000 monthly payments until the pandemic ends. Representative Ilhan Omar from Minnesota and more than 50 other House members are now urging the Biden administration to back these payments. A reoccurring stimulus check is a familiar proposal for Vice President Kamala Harris, who introduced a bill in the Senate last year that would have given $2,000 a month to every adult and child in the country until the pandemic ended, but that effort did not gain traction. And we have great news from former Carolina Panthers coach Ron Rivera. After being diagnosed with cancer back in August, the now Washington football head coach is officially cancer-free. His daughter Courtney tweeted the amazing news yesterday, saying his months-long battle had finally come to an end. Congratulations, Coach Rivera. The 4 to 5 is heading to break. Chat with us on Facebook. We're coming right back.
So those of you familiar with the Nussbaum Center for Entrepreneurship knows that it's really known for growing local businesses and kind of setting them up for success. But they're undertaking a new project. This could bring in a lot of money to the local economy. It could be pretty big. And believe it or not, it starts with a 220,000 square foot building on site there at the Nussbaum Center called the Steel House. I spoke with Lisa Hazlitt about how this will work. So Lisa, this is interesting. I don't think people knew that there's a need. When someone has like a great sauce or a great pasta or something, they want to mass produce it. The TRIAD doesn't have a lot of that, so they're going to what? Charlotte and Raleigh, and this project will change that hopefully.
Absolutely. So we would like to redevelop our steel house, and as part of that redevelopment, we're going to focus on food entrepreneurship and food innovation. We will put in 15 ghost kitchens, a food truck commissary, but the general idea is that there's not a lot of commercial kitchen space, if any, in Greensboro or Guilford County right now. And a lot of the kitchen spaces that were available are no longer available because of the pandemic. So by redeveloping this section of the Steel House, we will be able to better serve our food entrepreneurs in Greensboro and Guilford County. And then in addition to giving them a space where they can create and produce their product, they will also have access to the resources within the Nussbaum Center for Entrepreneurship Incubator, and we will teach them to grow and sustain their business.
It's interesting too that you and I were talking before we started recording that the food truck industry also needs this, and that I didn't understand, because to me I just thought like, oh well, they just go out in the trucks, but they need space also.
Right. So what a lot of people don't know is food trucks need prep kitchens. And you're not allowed to do that in your home. Guilford County regulates the food trucks. Guilford County regulates those commercial kitchens. There's a long process that you have to go through to get your home kitchen certified, FDA, and certified by the county. And so a lot of times food trucks will find third-party kitchens that will allow them to use their kitchen space, typically after hours. If they don't have that kitchen space, they don't have a kitchen to do their prep work. And so what we found, especially recently, is that a lot of food trucks aren't operating because they don't have kitchen space. Or what we're finding is that they're having to leave the county to find kitchen space. And as I'm sure you're aware, those food trucks don't get great gas mileage. So in order for them to leave the county, it's costing them more money to run their business.
Well, this is great. This is great not only for those people in that type of industry, but to bring money into our area as well. Lisa, thanks for time today. That's really good stuff. So it is interesting because I never knew that there really wasn't a place for people to do mass production for whatever their products are, and that place is huge, right? Because that used to be Carolina Steel. That was the old Carolina Steel building, and it's just been sitting there, and they've owned it for a while. So now they're going to upfit it and kind of in little pieces get it ready for mass production. So if someone has, something a product they make, I have friends that do this elderberry syrup, they could find a place there where they could mass produce it because people were driving to Charlotte and Raleigh to do that instead of keeping their business right here.
And I love that they're able to help all these small businesses because, anytime you can help a small business grow, it's good for really everybody, right? It's good for the small business, but it's also good for the local people to be able to buy products locally.
And think about how many people have turned to side hustles or, little things on the side of their main job to make money during the pandemic. I think that this is perfect timing for them. And food trucks, we're seeing such a food truck boom right now because you can park them outside and people can go and kind of socially distance and eat their food from the yummy food truck. So 2 thumbs up for this.
Well, and who knew that food trucks had to go into restaurants after hours and rent the kitchen from them very late at night just to have a place to prep the food. Now they can rent here locally.
I just want to move in next to a place that has just all these food trucks making food after hours because I want to eat some of that food.
You need someone to try that?
Yeah,
a taste test?
We'll be right back.
Talking about a forecast this weekend that, raises an eyebrow, doesn't it, for Saturday night, Sunday morning. We'll start out with tonight, clear and cold, 22 degrees, kind of sets the stage, doesn't it? But clear skies, winds are fairly light, that's not a problem tonight or tomorrow. But clouds will start to build in, we think, as we head into the day on Saturday, especially Saturday night, and that's when things get a little bit interesting. Satellite and radar look clear now, but you can see all of that back to the west is heading in our direction. Now, the timing of that cold air and the precipitation, obviously we watch for that. This is kind of a cold air damming system where the cold air comes in and kind of backs up from the mountains across the Piedmont. And the question is always, how deep is that level of cold air going to be? We think it'll be fairly shallow, but there is a chance Saturday night, and I stopped this here at about 11:30 so that you can see the white areas represent snow. You may see late night snow, 10 to 1 a.m. You might see a little burst of snow here and there. That's not a guarantee, but that's really not the problem because that'll be short-lived. It's the next morning when more of this moisture moves in, and how long will we remain at or below that freezing mark? It'll be very close. You see the temperatures at about 30 by this one model. Several models have us a little warmer, some have us a little cooler, so kind of this is the average, and this could be more of, say, a sleet, freezing rain situation early Sunday morning with maybe a little more freezing rain on it after that. The big question again is, how long will we remain at freezing or below, or will we even get there? So it's really up in the air right now. The models are kind of all over the place. But here's our 7-day. Just know that Sunday there's an 80% chance of rain, and I do think we'll have some sleet and freezing rain Sunday morning, hopefully tapering off by as we head into the nighttime. And then we'll build in. We're back to the upper 40s and low to mid 50s as we head to the end of next week.
Well, we certainly know so many dedicated teachers, but it could be hard to find anyone more devoted to their students than a kindergarten teacher from Minnesota, as she teaches kids all from her hospital room. Chip Reed has her story.
Good morning, Lindsay.
Kelly Klein is that teacher everyone remembers.
Good morning, Raina. What am I going to do with my kindergartners?
Even during a year she'd rather forget.
I made a word wall for you to help.
Kelly isn't only tackling virtual learning, she's doing it while battling a recurrence of ovarian cancer. She's in her online classroom every day, even during chemotherapy.
You could go on leave, and you said no.
No. So I was first diagnosed 5 years ago, and I did take a leave then because I was really sick. I missed teaching so much.
So they're actually watching you as you go through treatment.
Yes. What better way to spend 4 or 5 hours than with 5-year-olds? It makes the time pass quickly. It makes me smile.
The Minnesota mother of two says she wants to show all of her kids that even with cancer, people can thrive.
It's real easy to go down the why me. And I think if I didn't have 5-year-olds to teach every day, I would spend a lot of time thinking about that.
It sounds like they give you strength.
They absolutely give me strength.
And she's giving them a lesson in living life to the fullest. Chip Reed, CBS News.
Goodness gracious. I mean, the dedication there, guys. She could have taken a year off. She could have taken the easy way out, but I bet that there is nowhere else she'd rather be than on that Zoom call with those kindergartners.
And I love that, she's teaching, obviously, the tricks of the trade or whatever, the grade that she's teaching, but she's also teaching how to be positive, how to get through it, and persistence and all that stuff. So many lessons learned here.
Yeah, and I think too that a 5-year-old just gives you a boost, right? They're the cutest at that age. Kindergarten is so good, and I can see how that probably was really a boost for her to help her get through it. When you see the innocence of a child and how sweet they are, and they probably don't even fully understand what's going on, it was probably a nice break for her.
I was about to say, even if they don't realize what's happening now, in the future they're going to look back on this and say, wow, and be inspired. All right, well, the 4 to 5 is heading to break. Did you know that we're chatting with you on Facebook? And Chad, a lot of people are happy you're here.
You know what, I just hopped on, so come say hello.
Did you pay them to say those nice things?
Only 5 people, but 6 people have said nice things, so there's 1 extra there. We'll be right back. So often at the end of a long week, the weight of the world feels on our shoulders. A year into this pandemic, it's easy to feel a bit overwhelmed. That's why WFMY News 2's Megan Malaris makes it her mission each week to find the good that's often hiding in plain sight.
Take a moment and a deep breath. It is that time of week to sit back, relax, and just reflect on life's many blessings. Doing so is very therapeutic, especially during these trying times. So I asked you on my Facebook page, Megan Malaris News, as I do every week, to tell me something good, big or small, that happened in your life recently.
Anita's family is healthy and she's thankful for each day. Carol is thankful for a stimulus check that covered an electrician's bill. Tammy got to see her new grandson, Hank Isaac. He is so handsome. Patsy is celebrating being able to walk better. A newbie's COVID-19 test came back negative, and she's considering that a positive life event. Rita met a good man. Phyllis is happy her city put a street sign back up in her neighborhood. Brenda is thanking God for another day he has made. And Glenda said she has too many good things going on and feels blessed and thankful.
Well, just like Rita, my sister also found a good man.
What?
This
Look
is
at
my
that.
good news of the week. My sister, Chelsea, got engaged. She
That's
got
a
engaged.
precious picture.
Isn't that great? My soon-to-be brother-in-law, Peter, and her fiance now, they're very excited. And
you're excited.
It's happening soon. Isn't that crazy?
That's great.
I'm gonna have a brother. First time ever.
Wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
going to be an adjustment, but a good one.
Right.
Beautiful.
Look at that. Look at that rock.
Yes, it's
nice
beautiful.
one.
You know,
I
I
thought
grabbed
I was
that.
your brother.
Oh,
Chilton, calm down.
Okay, you are my brother from another mother.
Like, he's so upset his shot
He's
froze.
frozen.
He was just so upset about it. My good. So we're going to take it full screen so you can really appreciate the moment with us.
Hey,
there we go.
Chilton, you got to upgrade from that dial-up you got at your house there.
Maybe he can.
I gotta get what? What'd you say?
I said you've got to upgrade your internet from the dial-up you have.
No, I have fiber, thank you very little.
Chilton, if you picked up your phone right now, would you hear that? Like
Dad,
we
I'm on the
used
phone.
to.
Stop trying to connect to the internet. I remember that.
Exactly.
So that's his good news. He's got fiber internet. What about you, Maddie?
My good news is this morning I booked a trip to
have
Italy in
nothing to offer.
September. So everyone just cross your fingers that this pandemic decides to leave us alone by then. I haven't been anywhere in so long. My best friend is getting married in Tuscany, so we're going.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is good news.
And I had the airline miles to cover it because all I've been doing is online shopping. Look at that.
Yeah. Okay, we made it. We made it.
I'm
30
lucky if I
minutes
can go
down.
to Archdale. She goes to Italy. Great.
Fix your internet. We'll be back.
Bye. We'll be back.
Okay. Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together. Oh my gosh.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5, everybody. The only show on TRIAD television with Eric Chilton, Maddie Gardner, Chad Silver, and an awkward 4-second delay.
Should we wait 4 seconds before we talk in the studio as well? Happy Friday, everyone. We are so happy you're joining us, Chad. We're happy you were joining us for the time being.
I know. I'm the permanent fill-in? I don't know what to call it.
Permanent fill-in.
I'm here for a minute, so the foreseeable future. So I hope that you like me because I'm going to be around for a minute.
I'll learn to love you.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. We normally go to weather here, but we've got some good news about the vaccine.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get to that forecast, we just got this new information into our newsroom. Novant Health says more vaccine doses are on the way. This after they had to cancel more than 10,000 appointments last week. So the Department of Health and Human Services says the hospital is going to get about 9,000 doses over the next 3 weeks. They'll also get a chunk from the county's vaccine allocation. Novant Health says the first people to get a vaccine dose will be the folks who lost their appointment last week. After that, anyone on their waiting list is next.
All right, we're looking at temperatures, especially these overnight lows tonight. Look at Danville, forecasted to go to 20 degrees. It's setting the stage for what could happen Saturday night into Sunday morning. 23 in the Triad, 24 Boone, Asheville 23. These are low temperatures that we'll see tonight, which means that's your step-out temperature in the morning. All clear for today and into the night. It's probably Saturday afternoon and evening that we see the clouds start to build in. They're already moving in our direction, and it's that dance with the temperatures and the precipitation, the timing. Will they meet at the exact right time? That pink line represents areas that should see temperatures at or below freezing, and you can see how it's kind of hugging the Appalachian there, kind of the spine of the Appalachian, and what that means is that cold air damming effect that we talk about a lot, the Appalachian wedge. That cold air comes in, literally fills up against the mountains and backs up across the Piedmont. The question is, how deep is that layer of cold air? If it's fairly shallow, then we could end up with a sleet, freezing, rain mixture, which we think will happen Sunday. But Saturday night, there is a chance, and we're talking like 11 o'clock, midnight, Saturday night, overnight into Sunday, that we could see a burst of snow, but we don't expect much accumulation with that if we even get that. It's the next morning that's a bigger concern. You can see it on the map here. Once we get to that, say 4 a.m. until maybe even mid-morning, we got to watch to see if our temperatures are going to hold at or a little below freezing. That, of course, will make all the difference. But just think about kind of a cold rain, sleet, freezing rain, and then we have to kind of wait and see how it works out as far as the amount of ice that we would get. So it's kind of a question mark for our Sunday. We'll keep you posted. 80% chance of showers then, and the highest we think our temperatures will get or be around that 36-degree mark for Sunday.
President Joe Biden said he was ready to get to work, and it seems he was not kidding. The president has signed so many executive orders since he took office, but there's a claim going around that he has signed more in his first week in office than any other president. So our verified team is taking a look at that for you.
Is President Biden issuing executive orders at a faster pace than his predecessors? Our sources include a pair of databases tracking executive orders, one by the Federal Register and the other by the American Presidency Project. We also looked through the White House website, which is detailing each presidential action.
But he's on a record pace.
We also spoke with Alan Lichtman, a distinguished professor of history at American University. So let's dive into the numbers. In his first week, President Biden has issued 22 executive orders. And this doesn't even include the many other proclamations and memoranda. By comparison, President Trump issued just 4 executive orders in his first week. President Obama issued 5, and George W. Bush issued 0.
We are talking about a stadium-size difference. And these are executive orders of great significance as well. It's not just the number, it's also the import.
Lichtman says the reasoning for all this comes down to 2 factors. First off, President Trump issued a lot of executive orders. The Federal Register tracks it at 220 in just 4 years. And Biden can simply reverse many of them. Then there's factor number 2.
This says a lot about Congress.
Lichtman says that Democrats have a very slim majority in the Senate. For that reason, passing meaningful legislation is going to be difficult.
Given the tenuousness of the Democrats' grip on Congress, it's not surprising to see Biden take the executive order route.
So we can verify that so far, President Biden has issued executive orders at a faster pace than previous presidents.
I don't expect Biden to keep up this pace, but it's nonetheless quite extraordinary.
With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozloff.
Also happening in D.C., Democratic lawmakers are trying to oust newly elected Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene. The Georgia Congresswoman got a standing ovation as she rejected calls for expulsion after endorsing violence against Democratic leaders on social media. Video also surfaced from 2019 of Greene confronting a survivor of the Parkland school shooting. Congresswoman Jahana Hayes represents Newtown, Connecticut, the site of the Sandy Hook shooting. In a letter, she urged GOP leaders to remove Greene.
The idea that we have a sitting member of Congress trafficking in conspiracy theories, calling mass school shootings false flags, re-traumatizing families, harassing victims of school-based shootings, it's dangerous.
With tensions and safety concerns running high, the acting chief of Capitol Police wants permanent fencing around the complex.
Well, let's turn now to your 4 to 5 roundup. The U.S. House is increasing travel security measures for lawmakers amid heightened threats. The acting House Sergeant of Arms has created an online portal for members to share their travel plans to make sure local law enforcement agencies are aware of their movements. This is all according to an email obtained by CBS News. That memo comes during a time of heightened concerns on Capitol Hill and among members for their safety in the wake of the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Congress members are planning hearings after the app Robinhood and other retail stock trading companies froze new sales for certain stocks, including GameStop, yesterday. Some hedge funds had bet big on the downfall of those companies, and Robinhood's restrictions seemed in a way to favor big investors and punish smaller ones. This irked both Democrats and Republicans. So on Thursday evening, an email from Robinhood went out to users saying it would allow limited buys of GameStop and AMC stock today. And General Motors surprised the automotive world on Thursday, announcing its intention to stop producing gas and diesel powered vehicles by the year 2035. The company says the move to an all-electric fleet is part of a larger goal to become carbon neutral within the next 2 decades. According to the Wall Street Journal, electric vehicles currently represent just 2% of GM's worldwide sales.
All right, so what do you miss about the office when you work from home?
Oh, my coworkers, just casual chit chat, things like that.
Okay, that's not really what you missed, okay? What you missed is the vending machine!
Oh, you are totally right. Is this our vending machine?
This is our vending machine.
It's looking a little sparse.
It is looking a little sparse. Okay, so Chad wants the sausage links. I like the peanut M&Ms. What would you choose, Maddie?
Is there a honey bun in there?
There is a honey bun!
G7. I'm going there.
All right. There are a few really good selections there, but my favorite Lorna Doones aren't in there, and I'm really glad about that. Okay. All right. So coming soon to a vending machine near you.
Oh.
Yeah, these are at-home COVID tests. The company Wellness for Humanity unveiled the first machine in New York. And customers, well, the purchase the test online, and then they're sent a barcode, which is scanned. Seconds later, the box pops out. Inside is a saliva test that can be done at home and then shipped off to a lab. Once received, results take about 1 to 2 days. They're advertised to be 99% accurate. The company plans to roll out thousands of these machines in locations across the country over the next 6 months.
Grocery stores, shopping malls, airports, and subway stations.
So what if there just doesn't happen to be a vending machine near you? Well, there are at-home tests in stores and online. Results can take several days, but companies like Yulum are planning to offer kits that provide an answer in just a few minutes. Customers take that nasal swab, which then is read by a Bluetooth connected analyzer and an app. It's expected to cost about $30 and be in stores in the coming months.
Mike 7, all the way at the end. I might as well be Mike 8. I don't understand. Why did you do me like this?
So you know we're all clear tonight and the first part of the day tomorrow, but let's skip ahead. We're going to show you the maps here as we go to Saturday afternoon. You can see colder air starts to move in. We're down to about 38 degrees in Greensboro by that time, and if we go ahead with the futurecast clouds and radar, yes, that is an area of snow from really Winston-Salem and Greensboro north. That's where we could see that snow situation, but this is a Saturday night quick event. It's not anything that we expect to be a major problem for us. As a matter of fact, we think that's kind of a minor hiccup. It's as we go into Sunday morning that we're watching closely. Notice how most of it in the form of snow will be in our northwest communities, mountain foothills, and then right along the Virginia border. Typical stuff for us. More likely for that area would see snow. I think for the Triad and for most of us, it's going to be more of a sleet, freezing rain thing Sunday morning. And then the question is going to be, how long will it take for that warm air to come in from the south and kind of overtake the Triad? Because we're going to hover with that freezing mark. So sleet and really just a freezing rain, slick bridges and overpasses, that's what we're watching for your Sunday. First half of the day probably, but definitely early morning on Sunday as this entire system tries to clear us. So if you're looking at the likelihood of icing here, probably likely from, say, Forsyth County and Rockingham north and west, and then possible in most of Guilford County south to about Asheboro. But once you get south of Asheboro and into Chatham County and Montgomery and Moore and Lee, it's probably more of just a rain event for those folks. Again, something we will watch very closely. That is an overnight Saturday night, Sunday first half of the day situation. The high Sunday only 36, and then Monday all the way through next week we have a warming trend. Low 40s on Monday, some clearing, sunny mid to upper 40s Tuesday, Wednesday, 53 and sunny on Thursday, and by Friday of next week, even though we have a rain chance, we're close to 60 degrees. That's about 10 degrees above normal for this time of the year.
No doubt there are a lot of talented people who live around here. For example, a young woman from Kernersville who's known worldwide for her talents on the harp. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey talked to her about her skill and a special playing experience.
Yeah, guys, I'm going to be honest. I'd never met anyone who had played the harp before today. But now I can say I've met one of the best harpists in the entire world. Taylor Fleshman is a 24-year-old from Kernersville. She dedicated most of her life to the harp, and in the last 6 years, it has taken her all over the globe. After winning the Prisma Harp Concerto contest in Canada, Taylor was selected to go to Moscow and play the original harp concerto composed by Alexander Mazalov in the late 1930s.
So I was obviously really stoked to just do that in the first place. But a few minutes later, the music director, Arthur Arnold, contacted me and said, hey, we have a really unique opportunity. We want to see if you'd be interested. So I was like, yeah, okay, let me hear it. And they wanted to do a harp concerto by the composer Alexander Mazalov. The harp concerto had never been performed.
Right now, she's the principal harpist for the Orchestra Now, based in New York.
And essentially what it is a pre-professional orchestra training program. And there's only a handful of them in the United States.
So my real question for Taylor was, how does she travel around the world with a harp? She says it fits great in her car for performances stateside, but she rents harps, or she's provided one when she travels internationally. Also, she told me the harp weighs 80 pounds and she's only 93 pounds.
Well, I was about to say, that is a giant instrument. She must have an SUV or some kind of U-Haul.
It's like a hybrid thing, she told me, you know? It's a Honda Element, I think that's what she said.
Okay, so you really asked detailed questions there, right. Jalen, I like that. But it's such beautiful music. And I've never met a harpist either. So thank you for introducing us to Taylor today.
That's just so cool. I just, like Jalen, I don't think I've ever met anybody who's played a harp before. But it's like beautiful music, right? It's like the music that you hear if you're seeing a movie where they approach heaven's gates.
Yes.
Right? That's the instrument.
Absolutely.
Chilton, save me.
It's true. It is. It's heavenly. I don't know if I can bail you out, Chad. I'll say something here, though, that I've worked with the Greensboro Symphony and watched a harpist there, and I can't understand with all those strings how they can tell with both hands, how they can tell where they are when they're trying to operate that thing. It's an amazing instrument. Did I bail you out?
You did a fine job.
Thank you.
No one's approaching heaven's gates here. Everyone stay right here for now.
For now.
Right, for now.
For
at least the next 10 minutes. Right?
So we need somebody to save us. Jalen, you want to toss a break?
Yeah, we can. Look, man, I don't know what to do at this point. But hey, we appreciate you for joining us for the 4 to 5. Make sure you join us on Facebook. Leave a comment, please. We're in there having a great time. We'll be right back.
Great job. Welcome back to your 4 to 5. Some TRIAD students got a snow day while at school today. Kind of. Take a look here. Teacher Matt Lapina bought his snow machine to Immaculate Heart of Mary Catholic School in High Point hours before students arrived at school. Now, the weather conditions didn't really cooperate, but Lapina said students still got to enjoy some snow. Photojournalist Kyle Connolly captured all of the preparations that went into the unique snow day last night.
I've always been a big fan of snow. It's one of my favorite things to do in the wintertime. As a Midwesterner moving down to the south, a long time ago I realized it didn't happen all the time. This will be a surprise. We've been teased with some snow chances. They come in the morning. Of course we have screening process, so when they come in they kind of file in a certain order, but they will notice it immediately. We've got a lot of area here to cover. It's about 2 gallons a minute. So if I'm able to run it full steam, maybe 1.5 inches per hour in a zone, maybe 15 feet by 60 feet. I hope in some spots it gets to be at least 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 inches deep. I love to have fun. I know the kids love to be kids. We can both do that really well when there's snow on the ground. We've worked really hard to be in person since July, and it's wonderful to have something to look forward to and a little bit of a surprise, because they're all very special to me, all my students.
I love it. The effort was there. I know it didn't turn out exactly how he wanted it to. He didn't get that 6 inches of fake snow, but just the thought that counts here. Imagine having one of your teachers try to make a snow day for you as you walk into school.
And what I love is, the kids enjoyed it, but the adults, I'm sure, enjoyed it just as much. I got people all over my Facebook page who are wondering, when's it going to snow? When's it going to snow? So, I mean, a lot of the teachers and staff members, I'm sure, were definitely enjoying that as well.
He's frozen again. He's been out in the snow too long.
I think he was standing in front of that snow machine.
That's what happened.
And now he's frozen.
Mr. Snow Miser.
There he is. Look at him.
You look great, Chilton. Have you had some work done? Your face really looks tight right now. He can't even defend himself.
Maddie,
it's horrible.
I asked on Facebook the other day, what is in inches, what is the perfect amount of snow, in your opinion, for an entire winter?
0.
0.
I really don't like it.
So I said 3 inches. So a lot of people said 0, but then a lot of people said like 2 feet.
Oh.
So, you're going to get both of those, right?
The 0 people like myself, we need to move farther south, and the 2 feet people need to move farther north.
Right, and now he's just turned into a
Poor thing.
Poor guy. Can't even say goodbye. All right.
Hi.
Thanks for having
Hi.
me. We'll see you next week.
Hi there, tracking more winter weather. I love my job.
Hi, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana.
I heard her. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to. She turned into a beautiful young woman. Oh my.
I mean, she was beautiful. Hi, guess who's on the 5? Mic check, Maddie G. Stick.
Hey, we're talking about masks versus face shields.
So I want to talk to you for a minute about 2 words, spring fever. We talk about that all the time, don't we? Usually kind of like that April, May time period when people are getting antsy, sometimes March. But it seems like the pandemic is changing all that, at least for me. I'm speaking for myself, not for you. I wanted Thanksgiving earlier this year. I wanted Christmas earlier this year. We want things that make us feel good. Well, spring fever usually hits me in March, but I have it now. I did a little research. There's an article by Scientific American that was quoting some researchers at Columbia University Medical Center. They say spring fever can actually cause, obviously it's not a fever, but the idea that we want to get outside more, fluctuating moods and energy levels, I'm there, restlessness, got it, daydreaming is also a symptom of that. It's just a desire to get outside. Now, of course, the pandemic has made this much worse, but I am feeling this already. There's also some cool research, especially from a meteorological standpoint, I like this, that says that temperature has the effect too, that the perfect temperature for the human body in this article I read was 72 degrees, and that really makes people want to get outside. We in the TRIAD usually hit our first 70 sometime in April, but I need 70 right now. I'm just saying. If you're with me, comment on my Facebook page. Spring fever is real. I'm ready to get outside and get towards summer. But that's just my 2 cents, and that's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
Oh, today's sunshine, it is lovely, but it is deceiving because it is downright cold outside.
Yes, and Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley is outside in our weather garden, braving the temperatures for us. Tim, it is cold right now, but hearing talk of maybe some winter weather this weekend.
Yeah, this cold air definitely sets the stage for possible winter weather as we go into the weekend. Lots to track for you, so let's get straight to it. Right now, temperatures, well, they've had a hard time warming out of the 30s today. We're still sitting at 38 and 37 in Greensboro and Winston-Salem. For tonight, it's going to be quite cold again, just like this morning. We'll be down into those lower 20s. Very dry air is in place, and we'll have sunshine to start the day tomorrow. There are no issues during the daytime. However, I do want to highlight by the evening hours on Saturday, it's possible we get a snow band for just about 1 to 2 hours. That could put down a quick coating of snow. Let me show you. You see that right there? This is 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Basically between 6 and 10, you could get a quick burst of snow. Pretty to look at, possibly, but it also could maybe stick a little to the roadways. So if you're out and about tomorrow evening, I would encourage you to be very cautious of that. We'll be dry most of the night into early Sunday morning, but this is when our storm starts to arrive. Look here, we have snow possibly to the north and west, freezing rain over much of the rest of the area. It's really a wintry mixed bag. And then as we go after sunrise Sunday, we're looking at that iciness potentially north of the Triad with all regular rain just to the south. It's a kind of a classic, everyone gets something different Triad winter system as we go into Sunday. And then by the afternoon, everything is starting to kind of wind down for us. I am mostly concerned about ice with this system. As you go north and west from Greensboro to Winston to Reedsville over to Mount Airy, I think it's likely you get a coating of ice in these areas, maybe over a tenth, and that could be when we start to see some issues. Farther south, not likely to be a big problem here. We'll watch it for you. Coming up, we'll break this down into more detail with more timing and also amounts. And when it gets out of here, that's coming up.
Well, you can keep track of the winter weather chances on our free WFMY News 2 app. It has a lot of stuff going on there. You're going to find the latest weather alerts, the radar, and even the 7-day forecast. And make sure you subscribe to the WFMY News 2 YouTube channel. You can watch live weather updates through the weekend.
More COVID-19 vaccine doses are coming to Guilford County. Cone Health says the state health department will send them nearly 3,000 first doses each week over the next 3 weeks. And there is more. Cone Health also says the state will ship nearly 5,000 doses for large vaccination clinics in Guilford County. This is good news for people waiting to book appointments. Next Tuesday, the Guilford County Health Department will reopen registration for vaccination appointments starting at 8 a.m. About 5,000 slots will be available for clinics taking place next Thursday, next Friday, and next Saturday. Well, just yesterday, Skip Alston, the chairman of the Guilford County Board of Commissioners, wrote a letter to state leaders demanding more vaccines. He asked Governor Roy Cooper and Dr. Mandy Cohen to send a minimum of 5,000 doses to the health department. He also asked for another 5,000 to go to Cone Health to make up for the thousands of canceled appointments.
Since Cone didn't get that extra dose that we had asked for, we're giving them 2,450 of our doses because they too have a population that they have to serve.
A spokesperson responded saying the governor understands people's frustrations over waiting for the vaccine and is making administering doses across North Carolina a top priority.
While thousands of across the TRIAD wait to get a vaccine appointment, many others are still hesitant to get the vaccine at all, and that includes healthcare workers taking care of senior citizens. WFMY News 2's Denise McMillan spoke with a Greensboro facility about why that is and how they're handling it.
Everyone living here at the Wellspring Senior Living Community is vaccinated, but it isn't the same for staff members. Administration says it's been a slow educational process with employees.
I think we can say that when we first started without any education, we were probably at 50% of our team members who said they were willing to take it. And now we have 62% that have actually taken it.
Steve Fleming is the president and CEO of Wellspring Senior Living. He says they like to get 75% of staff vaccinated. That would mean they'd have herd immunity. Already, 12% of staff decided to decline the vaccine.
Especially our refugees who might have left because of poor government conditions and situations where the government and the healthcare system could not be trusted.
Deanne Brooks is the chief pharmacy officer at Cone Health. She has this message for folks who are reluctant.
These vaccines are very effective, and after the second doses of each of these vaccines, they're 95% effective. The other thing that the trial showed us as well is that 1 in 5 of the study participants were people of color.
Fleming says their acceptance rate across ethnic boundaries is great, but age has made some feel they can reject the shot.
We're seeing some younger individuals who just say, I don't think I'll be as affected by the virus, and I'm not going to take it.
Even with some declining the vaccine, Fleming says they could reach herd immunity during their vaccine clinic next week. In Greensboro, Denise McMillan, WFMY News 2.
Johnson & Johnson releases the results of its COVID-19 vaccine trials. Results show it is not as strong as the Pfizer or the Moderna shots, but protects against the virus. The Johnson & Johnson version is 85% effective in preventing severe cases of the disease in people of all ages and backgrounds 28 days after vaccination. Results show it also protects against virus variants. It requires only 1 dose and it can be stored in a regular refrigerator. The company will file an application for emergency use in the U.S. in the coming days.
All right, I've got to share some good news at the state level with our coronavirus numbers. Our hospitalizations saw a big drop today, 181 fewer than yesterday. While it doesn't look like much on this graph, it's actually a major one-day change. We haven't seen a number this low since before Christmas. And it's nearly 1,000 fewer than our record we set just 2 weeks ago. We asked a Novant doctor about the recent drop in hospitalizations. He told us fewer coronavirus cases are requiring hospitalization.
And Novant Health says they've given out 51,000 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine in our state. It is a start, but they recognize there are still roadblocks to getting vaccinated. All of their appointments are booked for the next few weeks as of now, but they open up more each week based on how many shots the state gives them. But there is another obstacle that they're working to overcome.
I want to underscore the fact that we believe this partnership with our community leaders and our community organizations are very, very important. We understand and realize there is a legitimate and valid mistrust around vaccine hesitancy and healthcare providers in general.
And that is why Novant is partnering with community leaders and organizations hoping to build more trust. At last week's community event, 200 people were vaccinated. New concern this evening after health officials say a new strand of the coronavirus in the U.S. could be partially resistant to existing vaccines. 2 people in South Carolina tested positive for the variant that was first discovered in South Africa. Companies have already started on working on updates to their vaccines. Both Moderna and Pfizer have started developing booster shots for the South African variant of the virus. The first case of a COVID strain that originated in the UK has also been reported here in Guilford County. County health leaders confirmed the news yesterday. It's a strain scientists believe is more contagious than the original COVID-19 virus, but not necessarily more severe. Health experts believe the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines are going to be effective against the newer strain.
Well, doctors say wearing a mask can help stop the virus from spreading and mutating. And this leads to a question from one of our viewers. Do face shields work as well as other types of masks? 2 Wants to Know's Ben Briscoe set out to find an answer.
So right here on the CDC website, it says the CDC does not recommend wearing face shields or goggles as a substitute for masks. They go on to write that those are used primarily with a mask to help protect your eyes, but face shields have large gaps, which are a problem. Take a look at why. Florida Atlantic University set up this experiment. You can see all those droplets that might contain coronavirus. They travel right around the face shield and still make it to the other side of the room. Now look at the difference between that and wearing a fabric mask. It's really easy to see how much better the fabric mask works, and that's why doctors want to say this.
I do think that the face shield is not as good as the face mask in trapping or reducing that respiratory droplet spread. The face mask should really continue to be used as the priority and the best solution. In those situations where it can't be used, face shields can be considered, but again, it's going to not be as good protection as the face mask itself.
If you've got a question like this, hit me up on Facebook. Just search for Watchdog Ben.
Common targets by thieves. Packages at your doorstep, your social security number. But what about your Facebook page?
Yeah, why your Facebook may be vulnerable and, most importantly, how to fix it. That's next.
Showing up in there?
There's a weird what? It's a weird light?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on here in the studio, and there's something going on with the prompter, and I'll see it in the prompter, they say. Great. That prod looks fine, yes. 7. Okay. Oh, yes, great, thank you. You walk out to the parking lot and your car, it's gone. You come home to find that someone broke into your house, stole your television. You know who to call when those two things happen. But what happens when someone steals your Facebook page? What do you do?
I received an email from Facebook. It basically identified that my account had been locked out.
Jerry Harris is a small business owner who runs a dog walking service. He learned that his business Facebook page had been compromised after a hacker gained access and changed the login.
The biggest problem, of course, is that I can no longer control my own business Facebook page.
Yeah, that's a problem, and this could happen to any of us. The scammers want control of real Facebook pages, whether you have a small business or not, so that they can use those real pages to scam other people. So how do you protect yourself? Well, Consumer Reports says setting up two-factor authentication is something that you probably already do and use with online banking and other secure sites.
Two-factor authentication is an extra layer of protection. And the idea here is if someone gets a hold of your password, they'll need another piece of information.
All right, so to turn on your two-factor authentication on Facebook, you go to the upper right-hand corner. You're going to click the arrow. You're going to go to Settings, and then Settings Login, and you're going to find this page that has a recommendation at the top and two-factor authentication buttons that are right there on the bottom. Chances are as well, your password for Facebook is the same as your email, your mobile banking app, your online grocery store order. You see where I'm going, right? It is hard to remember a bunch of passwords. I know this. So an easy solution is to use a password manager. It's basically an app that generates new passwords